Now on how this debate was received online, let's bring in 538's Galen Druke. Galen, what moment stood out to you or stood out in particular on Google Trends during this debate?
Yeah, so we have some sense of how the public reacted to this debate in real time by looking at the trends of what Americans were searching on Google during the 2 hours that it took place. And first of all, I'll say, Lindsay, that the DeSantisLies.com message from Nikki Haley corrupted my data a little bit, because you did actually see people Googling DeSantis lies and therefore his name shooting up at certain points. When it came to the actual issues, some of the points that garnered more interest from the public were around illegal immigration. Also, when Nikki Haley was talking about being a military spouse and when DeSantis was talking about serving in the military. But I think there's a more important message here, which is I was also looking at interest in Donald Trump throughout the 2 hours of the debate. So you saw some peaks for Haley, some peaks for DeSantis. Over the entire 2 hours, for the most part, Donald Trump garnered the most attention on Google. And in some ways, that's emblematic of this entire race. DeSantis and Haley duke it out in these debates. They lob attack ads against each other. But at the end of the day, here in Iowa, Donald Trump is leading by about 30 percentage points, and nationally, it's more like 50. And so while we may have seen, attacks lobbed throughout the night, some, good attacks, or you might call them, for one candidate or the other. At the end of the day, Americans have their sights set on Trump. Republican voters have their sights set on Trump. And it seems, unless something really changes, that's our answer for this primary.
But big picture, what are the dynamics of the race now that Chris Christie is out of it? How might that impact Iowa and New Hampshire?
Yeah, that's an important question. So he didn't have a lot of support in Iowa. He spent no time here, basically. But he did have about 10 or 11 percentage points on average of support in the polls in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley's at about 30 percentage points, and Trump is at 40. So you do that math. If a lot of Chris Christie's support goes to Nikki Haley, you could see her polling at about even. That's the closest anyone has come to being within striking distance of the former president in any of the early states. In fact, we could even see a scenario where Nikki Haley goes on to win the New Hampshire primary. It's by no means certain at this point. But I don't think we should take that to mean that Nikki Haley is on track to win the Republican nomination. New Hampshire is a very unique state. Independents in New Hampshire, which are the largest voting bloc, are allowed to vote in the Republican primary there. So there are going to be a lot of people who aren't particularly Republican voting in that primary. And on top of that, demographically, New Hampshire is unique. It's a highly educated state. About 40% of New Hampshireites have a 4-year bachelor's degree. And Nikki Haley's support comes in large part from college-educated voters. She overperforms with that segment of the electorate. But when you move on to subsequent states, the electorate is not going to look like it looks like in New Hampshire. And so it's hard to see how, even if she performs well under the unique circumstances of New Hampshire, that means she can go on and win subsequent primary states. But of course, nothing is done until people actually vote. So we'll keep an open mind until then.
All right, we sure will. Galen Druke, our thanks to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.